Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 8:52 a.m. This is News and Views on Salah Media. We are now going to be talking with Suleman Shaik. He is the founder and CEO of Emergivac. And I don't think it's a moment too soon for us to be having this conversation, because on a lot of my personal groups, I have noticed a lot of keyboard warriors talking about it's time that the Muslim community started up their own medical aid fund. And I think with that in mind, we'd be able to have a very healthy medical aid system going, possibly not only in our community, but it could overspill in other communities as well. And you are well aware, and I think you're going to talk about it as well, the issue around the summit that is currently happening. It ends tomorrow. Discovery Health is has put up this summit, and the one of the attendees that we've all taken umbrage against, of course, is the Ministry of Health from apartheid Israel. I think certain organizations has tried to engage with Discovery Health to uninvite those participants, but of course the excuses that were given were not acceptable by us as a Muslim community, and they have gone ahead with that summit, as I've indicated, is happening right now. That being said, Suleiman, has Emergivac been around for a while now? It can't be a result of that situation, because that is only just happening right now. So, assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program, and let's talk about Emergivac.
Assalamu alaikum, Julie. Assalamu alaikum to all your listeners and viewers out there. Yeah, Emergivac was launched 3 years ago, in fact. And I need to state right up front, Emergivac is not a medical aid. It's a medical insurance product that covers our members for any medical expenses arising from a medical emergency. So the difference between what Emergivac as a product is and a medical aid is that we don't really cover any planned or scheduled medical events, especially when it comes to surgery and things like that. Nor do we cover any primary health care. So we deal with anything emergency related. If you're at home and you have a sudden heart attack or a stroke, we will evacuate you to a private hospital and put up your hospital admission guarantee and cover the costs of that emergency. Or if you're involved in an accident, we regard that as an emergency. Emergivac was born 3 years ago, and Alhamdulillah, last year, in September last year, the product was also proclaimed to be fully Sharia compliant.
MashaAllah.
So we undertook, a journey over 12, almost 18 months actually, working with our Sharia advisory consultants and our underwriter of the product to make the product fully Sharia compliant.
And what has the uptake been like to Emergivac, to this product? And would you say it's mainly from the Muslim community or outside of the community as well?
Given that the product's 3 years old, our initial uptake was largely outside of the Muslim community. 12 months ago, we launched the Sharia version, after lots of requests from the Muslim community. But I must tell you, though, that the uptake has been fairly slow within our community. Lots of hype, lots of excitement, lots of support in terms of what we're trying to achieve. But words haven't quite translated into signups. We expected much more. Alhamdulillah, we're very happy with what we've achieved so far. But I think there's big opportunity, especially with our Muslim business owners who want to, provide some form of affordable healthcare for their employees, as an employee wellness program. Now, we've been engaging countrywide with Muslim business owners, this year. And the response has been phenomenal in the sense that everyone likes it, everyone sees the need for it, but the commitment to sign up has been quite tardy. Let me put it that way.
Isn't that the same old case as far as our community is concerned? When something amazing is offered to them, is it still that we locked in this apartheid mentality of ours because it isn't a white owned introduced institution, that our people are not uptaking your product? So that's the one issue. And then you are saying this is only regarding emergencies. Given what has happened over the past while with Discovery Health, and given that a lot of people in our community are jumping up and down and are demanding that we as a Muslim community, because we have the resources, we have the numbers, there's no getting away from that. And if we come together, this can happen. We can make it happen, and it can be a very, very viable proposition both ways. Not only Emergivac, but for Emergivac to then flourish into a full blown medical aid scheme, offering all of the products that you get from other medical aid, established medical aid schemes. Do you believe that you're in that space to be able to close that gap in the market? Because there seems to be a need for it now.
Yeah, I don't think Emergivac as a brand and us as a company quite ready to take that huge step. Other than needing extremely deep pockets, to launch, a medical aid company, you need a whole lot of human resources, to back up the organization. So, an initiative like this will need to be not just funded, but driven by a much larger or broader base than what Emergivac has access to. But there's
But if you
definitely a
have,
need in our community. There's definitely a
if,
need.
if
But
you have the right
again,
partners that come on board,
yeah,
is it a possibility that you could go that route?
yes, there's always the opportunity and the possibility to do it. You know, but the question needs to be asked, will we get the support? Because
Absolutely.
launching a venture of this nature, you need serious critical mass. You need the numbers. You need a balance between the youth as well as the middle aged and the older population within the scheme. You can't be seen to be attracting just a certain segment of the market. There's claims ratios to be taken into account. So there's a number of factors that will go into this, and you have to operate at scale. So whether we get the support from the community in the numbers that we hope, that's debatable at this stage.
You clearly know what you're talking about. You clearly come from a strong brokerage background or medical aid background, and that is the result of you having um, founded Emergivac. What I'm going to do is right after the interview or later today, I'm going to put you in touch with a few of the people that have been making noises on certain groups that I'm on regarding a Muslim owned and run medical aid scheme, and see if you guys can get talking, start making things happening. One of the scenarios, one of the guys by the name, your namesake, his name is also Suleman. One of the scenarios he suggested on the chat group was if you get 10,000 people that sign up for a medical aid at perhaps 7,000 Rand per month, you're looking at 7 billion rands. If my memory and my math serves me correctly, you can quickly tally that up. And would that then be feasible if we're looking at those type of numbers? And I also take into account the spread that you're talking about. It's got to be from toddler, it's got to cover toddlers right up to your geriatricians, because otherwise it won't be workable.
I think that's a very, with all due respect to my namesake, it's a very simplistic way to look at it. And the income, in terms of the premium or the contribution income, needs to be measured up against all the expenses that need to be factored in, as well as the capital ratios that you need to have, in terms of the Medical Schemes Act and things like that. So it goes much deeper than just, what the contributions will be. I mean, take a single claim, for example, that could run into, 1 million rands, for a serious accident and the rehabilitation costs thereafter and stuff. So, yeah, there's a number of factors. Then there's the network of doctors that you have to engage with and the back office processes, your claims and administration processes. All of this costs a lot of money to set up. So, you need a massive capital injection upfront to set up something like this.
And that's not to
It can
say
be
we don't.
done, but
Yeah,
yeah, it can be done, but you need the right partners. You need partners with
absolutely.
deep pockets, with a strong balance sheet, and yeah, and it'll take years of preparation actually.
Okay, deep respect to you, Suleiman. You clearly know what you're talking about. And you're right. I think we've all, as a community, a Muslim community, and other people who have similar views as we do regarding our support for the Palestinians, have become overly excited about the situation with Discovery. And we can talk a lot and put forward a lot of suggestions, but like you are saying to me now, what you've just shared with me on the show now is very sobering, very realistic, and it's not as easy as we make it sound to be. You need to know what you're talking about. You need to have a strong background, I should imagine, in brokerage and other areas as well. So, deep respect to you, Suleiman. I will very definitely contact you after the show and give you the numbers of a few of the people that have been on those groups. Reach out to them and see if there is a way to go forward. And I think it
Mm.
is doable because Alhamdulillah, our community has been blessed. We do have lots of philanthropists in our community and we can make it happen. So that being said, let's go back to your product, which is of course Emergivac. And you indicated right up front that it is only a product regarding emergency services. Is it in a sense almost a sort of a gap cover? What happens if I am a member of um, another medical aid scheme? Is it legal for me then to also sign up with you as Emergivac? And in a case of an emergency, how would I then go about processing my claims? Do I give it to uh, my current medical aid, and then would you close the gap in the areas that they don't pay? Of course, in emergency situation, is that a legal way to then work with Emergivac?
100%. So Emergivac was initially conceptualized and set up for primarily for people who didn't have access to any form of medical or private medical care. So we were targeting that 85% of the population who don't have any form of medical aid or medical private healthcare. And but it's not to say that if you do belong to a scheme at the moment, you can't take out Emergivac. So Emergivac is a excuse me, a mobile app driven product. Everything is done through the Emergivac app at a single touch of a button. Our 24-hour control center will dispatch the nearest private ambulance to your location. And from there, we evacuate you to the nearest private hospital. And we put up a hospital admission guarantee of up to 250,000 rands to guarantee your admission into hospital and to cover any in-hospital expenses that may be incurred. So, in that sense, the product is available to everyone in the market. If you have a current medical scheme, we don't function as a gap cover, but what we will do is if your funds within your current medical aid is depleted
Ah,
and you're an Emergivac member, provided that you had logged the case with us and it was resulting from an accident, we will cover any shortfalls that may occur with your current medical aid cover. So two things need to
and
happen.
it
One is
is
you have
legal.
to log the call. Yes, yes, absolutely. So you'll have to log the
Okay.
call with us, and it has to be an emergency related event.
All right. I do want to talk about the different forms of cover because what I also see here, very interestingly, is you talk about armed response assist as well. So, can you go through the benefits for us here and also the type of the cover, the cost of cover, and you have
Sure.
different ranges of costs?
Yeah. So what I did with Emergivac was, once we put the medical emergency cover in place, that's what the ambulance evacuation, hospital admission guarantee, and there's a component of emergency ER cover, for minor events. We decided, let's use the platform then to bring in all forms of other emergencies. So we've got a 24-hour armed response service, which will cover you nationally, whether you're traveling on business, pleasure, or you're just out and about. At the button, we send out an armed response company to you. It's literally like having your own, 24-hour bodyguard on call. We've got roadside assistance services for your vehicle for mechanical breakdowns and any other emergencies. Household assist, which is great in the sense that we cover your appliances as well, your large appliances. Um, then we've got some wellness benefits in the sense that we've got a AI-driven check, vitals check, where we can check your blood pressure, heart rate, even your stress level indicators. And all of this is done through the Emergivac app. We've got a mum and baby line for expectant mothers or families with young children. And there's a 24-hour mental health and wellness line as well. And just in the past couple of weeks, we introduced a new benefit where we are able to offer live location tracking for anyone who's a member. So you literally activate the location service from your mobile app, and wherever you allow access to will be able to track your movements to within 35 meters of where you are. Now, this is especially important for families, with younger children who have access to smartphones, especially when whether they're at school or whether they're traveling between school and home or out on weekends with their friends. Parents can now track their movements literally by the step up to 35 meters from where they are. So, we brought all of these things together. And, on our Sharia version of the product, we've got what we call our Sharia app collection, which has got, the complete Quran. There's the Qibla finder, location-based salah times. There's hadith. There's lots of du'as, which literally you can access, within the mobile app. So we've made it a very holistic app that covers all forms of emergencies and wellness benefits as well.
Subhanallah. Um, I'm going to digress a bit here, and I'm sure that you've given, more than likely, you have given it much thought as well. Something horrible is looming ahead for us as South Africans, and that, of course, is the NHI. How would that, what are your thoughts on that? And Do you believe that that's going to impact on Emergivac services? Never mind other medical aids, but how's this going to play out regarding your product and your services?
Yeah. Yeah. So, the NHI is I would, looking at reports and, what the experts say could be a decade away, could be much longer. There's very little likelihood that it's going to happen in the form that it's been proposed. So, to look or try and predict so far down the line is going to be difficult. But I would imagine that there won't be a complete breakdown of the private, healthcare marketplace as such. And I think there's definitely going to be a product or space for products like Emergivac, long into the future. And yeah, we're not too concerned about the effects that NHI is going to have. We do think there's still going to be a need for private healthcare. There's going to be a space for traditional medical aids and medical insurance products such as Emergivac.
That's very comforting, I must say, because I think I've been worrying about the situation and wondering, how is government going to implement it and what the impact's going to be on us as South Africans. But you are so right when you say it's very far down the line. But I think eventually will become a reality. Suleman, you definitely do speak with very much confidence about your product. So that does lead me to believe that you have years and years and years of experience in this space. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how Emergivac really came into being.
Yeah, my background, like you rightfully pointed out, has been primarily in the insurance industry. We hail from a small town called Escourt in northern KwaZulu-Natal. And when I relocated to Johannesburg, one of the very first jobs that I had was at Standard Bank Insurance Brokers, and that was my first encounter to the insurance industry. And over the years, built a career within the insurance industry, and ended up being the group direct marketing manager for Fedshaw Holdings at the time. And when Fedshaw was sold off to various other entities, I launched a call center business called Direct Channel Holdings, which Alhamdulillah, in 2001 it was launched, and it grew to be the largest, call center business on the African continent. We were employing almost 3,000 people at the time, around 2008. And our core focus at the time was the distribution of insurance products via telesales. So yeah, we were those, irritating people on the other end of the line
And the
trying to
Poppy
sell
Act is,
insurance.
I think the Poppy, sorry for the interruption, the Poppy Act is going to put paid to that, isn't it? Cold calling.
Mm, Cold calling, yes, definitely. So around 20, excuse me, around 2014, wow, around 2014, when word about the Poppy Act was out, and so I took a decision to exit telesales, you know, at the time, and in 2016 we sold the business to a UK call center operator, and and switched our focus to what we call face-to-face marketing. And that's that's one way to get around the Poppy Act. And so engaging directly with consumers, we currently have over 2,000 what we call field agents who still continue to market and sell various forms of insurance products. But during COVID, an incident took place that really triggered the creation of Emergivac. One of our managers down in Cape Town contracted COVID, and his wife rushed him to the Somerset Mediclinic, Somerset West Mediclinic, and they refused to accept him because he didn't have medical aid, and she didn't have a big enough deposit to put down. And the state hospital, across the highway, just didn't have ventilators. And so she reached out to my son, who lives in Cape Town, and you know, said to him, she needs help um, in getting him admitted, and it cost us 100,000 rands to get him admitted. And about 4 weeks later, he was discharged with a bill of 285,000 rands in total, and that triggered, my decision to actually create a product, to handle something or medical emergencies of any nature in future.
Well, let's hope and pray, inshallah, that by way of this interview and as well as those people that I've been talking about, the numbers that I'm going to forward on to you, that perhaps some sort of a collaboration can, something new can be born. You guys can collaborate and let's see what we can put out into the marketplace regarding medical aids and us as a Muslim community. I will be wrapping up now. My next guest is on standby. What would you like to share with us in closing?
Shukran for this opportunity. Really appreciate it. And if I can encourage our community to have a look at our Emergivac website, take a look at the benefits that we offer. Our pricing is extremely competitive. The product definitely covers, a need in the community. Like I said, 85% of the population don't have any form of medical cover. Emergivac is a great way to plug a gap, especially for those, big ticket events. And your day-to-day GP visits and things like that can generally be taken care of. But when you have a major medical emergency, you need some form of cover, and you don't want to end up in the state hospital system. You want to be assured that you and your family, can be transported in a private ambulance to a private hospital, and that's what we do.
Okay,
So I'm
Suleiman.
encouraging.
Yeah, I did say it's my final question, but I do need to get this question in very quickly. Would you
Sure.
say Emergivac would compare with a hospital cover? A lot of people don't have day-to-day cover, but they do have a hospital plan. Would you say Emergivac is similar to that, or is Emergivac only active in a situation of an emergency? Is that the difference?
Emergivac is much more comprehensive than your traditional hospital plan. Your traditional hospital plan will pay you a fixed amount for every night you spend in hospital, and there's generally a waiting period of either 48 or 72 hours before that cover kicks in. Emergivac covers you from the minute you log the call with us, and we cover all your in-hospital expenses. So it doesn't just give you, 5,000 rands a night or 10,000 rands a night, like your traditional hospital plan would. We pay everything from radiology, pathology, theater costs, the anesthetists and specialists who take care of you. So all of that is covered.
That's where we leave it. Really lovely chatting with you. Yeah, I guess insurance, medical aid, and all of that. The important thing is to make sure that you read the fine print, because you might be signing something off and you don't know or won't realize whether you've been covered or not till you reach that situation of emergency or whatever it might be. So that's the important factor, but also very comforting to know that there is something out, a product out in the market called Emergivac, which could be an option for you. So, Suleman, may you grow from strength to strength with Emergivac. And may Allah accept all your efforts. Thank you for talking with us. And Assalamu alaikum to you.
I mean, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Suleman Shaik, founder and CEO of Emergivac. And I think that interview was so timely, very especially in light of the fact that we're having all this drama playing out with Discovery Health and them hosting at their summit, which is currently on right now, the apartheid regime, Israel's apartheid regime's health ministry at this current summit happening in Cape Town. And the other very plausible reasons for why we as a community should be looking at viable alternatives as far as medical aid is concerned. It is 22 after 9 o'clock. We're moving along. Let's first go for an ad break before we are joined by our next set of guests on the show on News and Views this Tuesday morning.
We are here in the middle of a Zahra neighborhood. The whole neighborhood is already destroyed. More than 17 towers are down. Here, as you can see, the firefighters trying their best to help. The people are still under the rubble. A lot of the people.
Join Hamza on his exclusive South African tour as he shares his personal experiences, never before seen footage, and powerful insights on the ongoing genocide in Gaza. This is more than just a talk. It's an invitation to witness Gaza through the lens of Hamza Sha'alan. Don't miss this opportunity to meet the photojournalist who brought Gaza's pain and perseverance to the world in its darkest moments. Follow Salam Media on social media pages for more on this tour and be part of the conversation.